Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. This is me, Nadia Rajput from Desi TV USA. Let me take you to the special news. The permanent mission of Pakistan to the United Nations. The Indian Cricket Board's Secretary J. Shah reacted to the news of contacting Australian cricketers to coach the team. Former national cricket team captain Shahid Afridi has been appointed as the ambassador of the International Cricket Council for the T20 World Cup. Pakistan endorses enhanced role for African states in global security and development. New York, May 23, 2024. The United Nations Security Council organized an open debate on the subject of maintenance of international peace and security, strengthening the role of African states in addressing global security and development challenges. Taking part in the open debate, Ambassador Munir Akram, Pakistan's permanent representative to the UN, highlighted the significance of Africa's role in addressing global security and development challenges, as well as the vast potential of economic and trade relations between Pakistan and the African continent. The Pakistan UN Envoy said that Pakistan actively participated in the liberation of African nations following its own independence in August 1947. He said that many African freedom fighters were facilitated to travel on Pakistani passports to promote their national freedom struggles. Referring to the evolution of African institutions, Ambassador Munir Akram said that African states have rapidly evolved their national, regional, and continental institutions such as the African Union, SADC, and the African Security Council, reflecting African solidarity and cooperation. He also listed the multiple challenges facing Africa and stated that despite progress, the continent continues to face challenges such as foreign exploitation of resources, external intervention, and the emergence of terrorist groups and criminal gangs, exacerbating conflicts across the region. Ambassador Akram, however, expressed optimism for Africa's future and said that despite these challenges, Africa is on the rise with dynamic economic growth and determination in an effort to find African solutions to African problems. Ambassador Akram said that Pakistan supports Africa's demand for rectification of historic injustices in its representation on the Security Council and other international organizations. He said that Pakistan supports the development of new forms of peace operations, including peace enforcement with broader mandates, adequate resources, and training for peacekeepers in line with the recommendations of the UN Secretary General. He said that Pakistan looks forward to working with African countries to realize these objectives, including as a member of the Security Council, if elected. Ambassador Akram highlighted the key features of Pakistan's Engage Africa policy, which he said aims to strengthen ties with African states through trade, investment, and security cooperation. Pakistan, he said, will serve as a bridge to bring Asia and Africa closer together, thanks to China-Pakistan Economic Corridor. Ambassador Munir Akram also emphasized the historic significance of Resolution 2719/2023 aimed at enabling Africa to preserve and enforce peace and security on the continent.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would like to thank the Mozambique delegation for convening this important debate on Africa. I also wish to thank the United Nations Secretary General, the Commissioner for African Union, and the Chair of the Peacebuilding Commission for their briefings. Mr. President, Africa is a rich continent with fertile lands, plentiful resources, and industrious people. However, over the past few centuries, the continent was colonized, its people enslaved, literally, its resources callously exploited, and its nations divided into European fiefdoms. Following its own independence in August 1947, Pakistan participated actively in the liberation of African nations and their exercise of the right to self-determination. To realize their independence, many of our African brothers were enabled to travel on Pakistani passports to promote their national freedom struggles. Since achieving independence, African states have rapidly evolved their national, regional, and continental institutions, including the African Union, SADC, the West African Economic Community, and the African Security Council, which are unique manifestations of African solidarity and cooperation. Yet, foreign exploitation of African resources has persisted. External interventions have often destabilized African nations and regions. The emergence of terrorist groups and criminal gangs, as well as the socio-economic impacts of externally generated climate change, have triggered numerous conflicts across the Sahel and several other regions and countries in Africa. But Africa is on the rise. It is brimming with vigor and vitality. African economies are growing dynamically. The Africa's Vision 2063 outlines its strategy. African nations are determined to ensure that there are African solutions to African problems. And Africa rightly demands rectification of the historic injustices in its representation, including in the Security Council and other international organizations. Mr. President, the adoption of Resolution 2719 was a historic step aimed at enabling Africa to develop the capability to preserve and, where necessary, enforce peace and security on the African continent. We must work to give life to the provisions of this resolution. To this end, and responding to the UN Secretary General's recommendations, the UN Security Council, together with African and other interested partners, should develop the concept and structures for new forms of peace operations, including peace enforcement. Such new peace operations will require broader and more robust mandates, the allocation of adequate resources and finance, the training of African and other participating peacekeepers, the provision of appropriate and advanced equipment. Pakistan will contribute actively to these objectives, including as a member of the Security Council, if God willing, we are elected to the Council on 6 June, and in proposed international meetings we are organizing in Islamabad. Mr. President, eons ago, the South Asian subcontinent was sundered from Africa by a colossal tectonic event. Yet, across the seas, the links of our people with Africa have remained close and intense. Over the past few centuries, seaborne trade brought a sizable African population to our shores, which they still inhabit. Pakistan has adopted a policy which we call Engage Africa. We are embracing our sister African states through trade, investment, and security cooperation. And as our connectivity grows with China through the CPEC corridor and with Central Asia, Pakistan will serve as a bridge to bring Asia and Africa closer together, a befitting reversion to our prehistoric geography and to the Asia-Africa future, which was envisaged by our leaders at the Bandung Conference. I thank you, Mr. President.
The Indian Cricket Board Secretary J. Shah reacted to the news of contacting Australian cricketers to coach the team. The Indian media says that J. Shah has denied any contact with the Australian players for coaching. According to Indian media reports, J. Shah says that neither the BCCI nor I contacted former Australian players for coaching. Finding the best coach for the Indian team is a careful and lengthy exercise. He said that we are focusing on people who understand the structure of Indian cricket. It is very important that the coach of the team has a deep knowledge of the framework of domestic cricket, so the new coach of the Indian team can be Indian. Former national cricket team captain Shahid Afridi has been appointed as the ambassador of the International Cricket Council for the T20 World Cup starting next month. ICC has announced Shahid Afridi's inclusion in the list of tournament ambassadors because Shahid Afridi was a member of the T20 World Cup winning team and the player of the tournament. Apart from Shahid Afridi, ICC also appointed Indian player 𝐂𝐍𝐉𝐎𝐘, Chris Gayle of West Indies and world's fastest athlete Usain Bolt as ambassadors. That's all for now. Keep watching Desi TV USA. Please like, subscribe, share and comment, and don't forget to watch our channel DTVNN and log on to our OTT platform DTV Flix to explore over 3,000 channels which we provide.
दीवाना बनाना